Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's video. My name is Debbie Sadie-Fi. I'm here with Deborah Blosnich and our special guest, Joyce Taylor. Joyce, thank you so much for joining us today. So we are going to dive into
Thanks for having me.
we're going to dive into a really special conversation about the Elite Mentorship Forum with Joyce. She is a master trainer within our group, and we are really excited because Deborah and I were part of Joyce's group going through the EMF program. So Joyce holds a special place in our heart as one of our mentors in this whole process. And I know that you'll have some amazing things to share with us. And I want to also mention that Joyce has written a book about the EMF journey, and it's called The Once and Future You, Rediscovering Yourself and Finding Your Magic. So let me just share so you can see the book for a minute. So Joyce, it's amazing that you've written this book.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, and I'm excited to read it myself. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to read it. Great. So let's dive in.
Thank you. It was amazing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. What a great book. I wanted to start with what inspired you yourself to join the Elite Mentorship Forum.
Well, it had a really interesting start. It was back at the start of COVID, and I was at home with my husband and virtually nothing to do because I wasn't able to work. He wasn't working. It was still a cold time of year where we live, and I was spending a lot of time looking around on the internet. And I watched something called The Real Summit, I believe it was, and Peter Sage was a guest on there. And he invited people there to join him the following Monday for a 2.5 hour presentation. And I did that. And as I was listening to it, I was just so incredibly compelled by him. It was just, he was so easy to listen to and such a beautiful human being that I turned to my husband and I said, he was offering USM, ultimate self-mastery. And I said, if I do this, will you do it with me? And he said, sure, I'd love to. So we dove into that. And we're totally fascinated by everything we were encountering there. And when it got to a couple of months, maybe, and they were offering the Elite Mentorship Forum program, it was not much of a step for us to go to that. Now, I say us, I was the one that signed up for it, but Mark was always with me when I was doing it. So we both went through the first round together. But yeah, so it was back in, I don't even remember what year that was, in August that we started, or I started it. It was EMF 13.
Wow. And I think that's so beautiful. I love the fact that you and your husband did it together. That is so amazing because when you do the program, there's so much that you learn, and to have someone that you can share it with and who understands what you're saying and doesn't think, what are you talking about? That is like
Absolutely.
That's just a gift all in itself.
Yes, it was indeed, and still is, because we're still on the journey together. We've never stopped learning since then, and we do everything together. That's
So
what
beautiful.
our morning coffee is every day, talking about what we've learned that week or day.
That's awesome. I love that. You said here that both you and your husband were drawn to Peter, but you had been online. Was there something specific about Peter's message that resonated with you and made you want to join? Was what was different maybe about what he offered, I guess?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I personally had never taken a personal development program before. My husband had in the past. I never had. So I followed different people to hear what they had to say, but I had never signed up for anything or taken part in any teachings. I think what resonated with me personally was that I could understand what he was saying. I felt where he was coming from. It felt like me rather than someone, I don't mean this badly, but on a hill somewhere that's been doing this for so many years that it's just somewhere I'd love to be, but how do I get there? But with Peter, he was a real human being that was talking in a way that I could understand. And it all just was so easy to assimilate all the things that he was saying. I
I
think
love the
that's
word
it.
assimilate there. That's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's the big thing that's often missing for us is we can learn
Mm-hmm.
something and we can understand it, but if we don't know how to assimilate it into our lives, then we just end out where we were before we even heard it. So that's a great explanation. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And when you're thinking about where you started, what kind of emotions were you experiencing before you embarked on the EMF journey? Was there something specific that because you decided you wanted to take that, some kind of
Well,
specific?
because it was COVID time, the emotions were, okay, where are we now and what am I going to do and where are we going to go as the world in general, basically. It was such a starting point for everything that could possibly change in the world. And it was just a real inspiration to understand that possibility existed. And I'm there was nothing in my personal life that I felt really needed to be fixed. Although now looking back, there's a whole lot that has been. But I know I didn't have my finger on it at the time. It was not glaring at me. It was more, I'm insatiably curious, and that it brought that out in me. It was more curiosity that took me into it, and that's not really an emotion, but that's what got me going.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say for our listeners, and everyone probably know this, I can identify with you 100% because I went into it the same way. I don't not really need to be fixed. But looking back, it's how much got fixed.
Right.
And there's still more. Now I see what else needs to be fixed too, for sure.
Right.
So I identify 100% with where you came from.
So true. And nobody wants to say, I need fixed or something wrong with me, but we all sometimes feel that something's not quite right. But we're so unaware of these other things. And I think that's what you're saying. Peter makes these big concepts too, and he simplifies them. And here, this is that feeling you're having. This could be what it is. Let's explore. So
Right.
beautiful. After that being said, though, right? Like you didn't um, feel like you need to be fixed and all that. So you didn't go in it saying, I need to fix a problem. But was there a moment in your life where you were like, oh my gosh, I feel differently because of EMF? And you were like, oh, this is really having an impact on my life. Was there a moment when you knew that it was making a difference in your life?
This is this might sound silly, but the first moment that happened to me going through this journey was when I discovered that it was okay and actually even encouraged to ask questions. Peter's big on that, asking better questions. And all my life, I've I was discouraged from asking questions because I asked too many of them. My parents always wanted me to stop. And when you're in a workplace, they don't really invite you to do that. And I'd never been in a situation where they said, okay, so what questions do you have? Ask more. And that was really the first thing that changed in my life, because that's who I am. And it's very important to me to be able to do that. But I didn't think it was okay up till that point.
Okay. So allowing
Not a
yourself to
huge
be
thing.
curious. No, it
Yeah.
is though. Like I'm listening, I'm just trying to like listen because you're right. It's not a response that we would have expected. But at the same time, I feel like it is very profound because how many times in our life are we just told that's the way it is? And you're like, yeah, but why? And they're like, because that's the way it is. And now you say, no, for real, why are we doing this? Why am I doing this? And in asking those questions, we open a new world for ourselves because we find the answer and we either accept it or we change and say, oh, that doesn't actually resonate with me.
It's the basis of discovery. You can't discover anything unless you're curious and ask questions, look at different things about it. So that's how you grow
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
And I feel that part of that is being able to come into your own authentic self as somebody who is curious and feeling now that it's okay to ask questions is amazing. And the other thing with Peter is he invites you to look at what he's saying and really determine if you believe it yourself and not just take him at face value and find your own truth.
Right.
Yeah, so important. So Joyce, how has your life changed since you finished EMF? Your relationships, and that's got to be something that you also put in with the fact that your husband did it at the same time or has been by your side, your career, your personal growth. What is different now from when you started?
The first thing I have to say is I don't think I'm ever going to be finished EMF. Even if I wasn't going through it again and again as a trainer, I'd be going through it just in my personal life because the teaching's there forever. And every time I look at it, it's different and I get new things. No, I'm never going to be finished it. But at this point, what's changed? It's almost it's hard to know where to start. My relationship has changed immensely. And a lot of that has to do with the learning that we've done together. But it also has to do with the fact that Peter's work introduced us to other work that we've been following together, which is Roy Kilmartin's work with archetypal relationships, which I can't even begin to tell you how that's changed our and every relationship in our lives. Peter's, thank you, his work introduced us to that and never looked back from there either. Through all of that, and I'm going to get to my book now because this is where my book comes in, is it's opened up so many possibilities for me. And it's helped me to rediscover myself because I don't think any of us are without work the people that we were meant to be because it's covered up by so many things just going through life. And finding that who you were meant to be is, or who that little thread is that's running down through you that's still there, is such a gift when you uncover that. And I believe I'm not totally there, but I'm certainly a lot further towards that than I ever have been. And that's really exciting and so much fun. So I ended up, because I just do things sometimes without really thinking about them. I guess I work a lot on my intuition now. And I had an opportunity to write a book and thought over the course of my life, oh, maybe I should write a book. But I'd never even taken a step towards it. I did once. I took a weekend to go to a thing that was teaching me how to do it, but I never did it. And this gentleman that I took the course with guides you through step by step the whole thing, writing a book. And I had no idea of what I was going to write a book about when I signed up for it. But I thought, I got to do this. So the first thing they have you do is they have you come up with a title. And I've always been in love with the whole medieval King Arthur, Merlin type of stories. And there was a series of books written about Merlin or them called The Once and Future King. And so this thing popped into my head, okay, the once and future you, because basically what EMF has done for me is it's found who I once was, and that's who I'm going to be. So that's what the title represents for me. And then he has you come up with the title or the names of the chapters and then the points in the chapters that you're going to cover. And you fill the content in from there. So as it turned out, it was a story of my journey through EMF without identifying it as being Elite Mentorship Forum, and written along the way of J.K. Rowling's stories. So it's about a virtual academy, and which basically Elite Mentorship Forum is. And it touches on subjects from each chapter, touches on subjects from the different modules without naming what they are, but giving the essence of what they teach. And at the end of it, it's an open invitation to people to pursue the work themselves. I am hoping that's where it'll work through to at some point, is people will get curious, as I was, get a hold of me, go to my website, just have a chat and get interested themselves. So that's how the book ended up. So that's how my life has changed. I went on a cruise in September that was with 40 other people who had written books with this gentleman to Alaska. Oh. And we had our book launch, and I had a little video with him launching my book. And it was something I never thought I'd ever do, but it's been magical. It's been really cool. So my life is, I still live in the same place and pretty much do the same thing every day. It's that whole chop wood, carry water thing. You're still going on, getting through life, but what's inside of me has changed immensely.
So heartwarmed by that. And here's what I think. As you were saying that, it says, I think my kids need that book for Christmas. And so if anybody is listening and looking for a Christmas gift for a loved one, this is an amazing opportunity to take somebody on an adventure that you never know, it could change their life. So Joyce, this is so powerful. And yes, I love how your life has changed. You didn't go into it looking for change, but what magic has come of it. And this book sounds very magical. So yeah, it sounds like an amazing gift to give to someone.
Thank you.
As we go into this Christmas holiday.
Absolutely.
And that wasn't something planned. That just came from inspiration from what you said about your book and all of that. So I guess my next question for you would be about how you feel that EMF has set you up for long-term success and transformation. And Deb, if you were supposed to ask that, I'm sorry.
We're all good. We're all good. I'm so excited. That was like the most beautiful share. Like, how did it change your life? It opened you up, and then you wrote this beautiful book to share your experience with others and open their eyes to the possibility. So absolutely, no, beautiful. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, where were we?
All right, so sorry, I'll go back to how has EMF set you up for long-term success and transformation?
Just in all that we just talked about as well. It's taken me, as you said, I'm just so honored to be a master trainer with the Elite Mentorship Forum now, which kind of takes my breath away. And I'm looking forward to that journey. I have a cohort, an in-house cohort, which is one that comes through the SAGE group. At January 23rd, it starts with a beautiful human being, Anne-Marie Knoll. And so I'm so looking forward to that. and all the new people that I'm going to meet. I'm just finishing off one, EMF 36, and I'm still quite involved, or very involved actually, in Rory Kilmartin's work with archetypal relationships. So I've gone through the facilitator program there. I'm a program manager. And so we are on a 2-month break now, and he starts back up again in February. So I've got a little bit of downtime. I'm also working with a gentleman who's a personal coach and is helping me build my own program. That will be another offer that I can make to people. And what we're concentrating on right now is work 5 of ways to live a stressless life. So helping people get through all the heavy stuff that's going on, and one step at a time, getting where they want to go. So that's what I'm doing right now, as well as just enjoying life in general.
Awesome.
You are busy on
I am.
That's amazing though.
on such amazing projects. I'm working in the health, women's health and wellness, and stress is a big thing. So if we can find ways to reduce stress, that's very powerful. Amazing. All right, Deb,
Absolutely.
over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been beautiful shares, and I think the changes that have happened in your life and the adventures that you're taking and you're going on, and then spreading what you've learned to help others is amazing. And our final question for today, though, would be, if you were speaking to someone who was thinking about joining the Elite Mentorship Forum, what would you tell them about taking that leap, like whether they should or should not?
What comes to mind is that you don't know what you don't know. So people hear my story and they don't think it can be them, because I often heard stories in the past that I thought, how wonderful for that person, but yeah, it's not going to be me. And so I think that I would have to help them to understand that you have to take the first step to be able to continue the journey or even start the journey. And there's so many ways that people can experience elite mentorship or get going on the Elite Mentorship Forum path, like starting with ultimate self-mastery or the foundation course or something. They don't have to dive in with both feet right from the start. And just all the beautiful things that Peter puts out on YouTube and Facebook, and even just introducing people to his journey right now on his row across the Atlantic. I'm fascinated by that. I've looked every day so far to see, where is he? And just so inspiring. So if I was speaking to someone, I would just have to help them to understand that it can be them as well. They deserve it. They can't afford not to do this because they don't know what the possibilities are. And again, if you're a curious type like me, finding the possibilities one at a time is like finding little breadcrumbs that keep taking you across the journey. And then you get to the end of it, which is, there is no end, but look back and you just can't believe what's happened. It's the excitement. You have to, as one of our mentors says, share the excitement. And if they feel that, they too can get caught up in it.
Sad. I just, yeah, so beautiful, right? Like, just, you don't know what you don't know. You don't need fixed, though. That, for me, like, that's a big one. You don't need fixed. You just need to find yourself, because
Right.
you're in there and you have amazing things, and the world is full of so many possibilities. but if you don't know that they're there for you to take and that you too can do this. I love, that was my favorite thing you said was that, right? And I think a lot of us have that when we see anybody having and accomplishing so much, yeah, but it'll never be me because I didn't have that, or I don't have that, but that's not true. So thank you for that, because yes, this is for everyone to explore their best journey. So thank you so very much for joining us today. Congratulations on your book. I'm definitely going to be reading it, probably gifting it because it sounds absolutely gorgeous. I didn't realize it was a story like you just explained. I'm excited, and absolutely my kids were huge. They're big readers, which makes me happy, and I think they will enjoy it. So I will share that with them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's
Debbie,
been
did you
so
want to
lovely to share space with you two again.
Yes, it has. Thank you. Yes, you were amazing when we first met. You took us on this fabulous journey to get to here today. And now we're more just peers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Continuing our journeys, because like you said, the journey doesn't end. And that's the cool thing about it. Like you just realize that, oh, we just keep evolving and learning and go, oh, look at that. Look at, there's so much to know. So beautiful. Thank you so much. For those of you watching, if any of this resonated with you or you have some questions, you could just comment in the comments or reach out with a question to Debbie or myself or even Joyce. And please do go check out her book, The Once and Future You. So thank you, everyone. And thank you again, Joyce.
Love you guys.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you.
So much love. It was amazing.